Hey, this is Jim Cockrum. Welcome back to Silent Sales Machine Radio. I'll be your host today, and we've got a guest who's one of the exciting emerging success stories and leaders in our community. His name is Jimmy Smith. I'll introduce him in just a moment. But this is one of those episodes where if you listen only to this podcast, you're listening on an app today, out and about, thinking and driving, that kind of thing. Hey, this is one of those episodes where you might want to go back to the episode show notes and look for the YouTube link because we've got a video today. And I always like to give the disclaimer, this is not an episode where the video is vital. We're not going to have any screenshots to show you or anything. But if you want to see two guys hanging out talking about Amazon success, some creative strategies to grow your business, join us on YouTube. Why not check it out? And if you're watching us on YouTube today, another disclaimer, hey, you got to realize about 90% of our episodes aren't on YouTube. You want to go to silentjim.com/podcast. We've got over a couple hundred plus episodes at this point, and we've had so many great interviews with so many great creative online business building warriors and strategists and success stories like our guest today. Like I told you, Mr. Jimmy Smith. He's got his wife, Brittany, and they have built an incredible business. He's going to tell us all about it. But this is a strategy that you might not have ever heard of before. And before I turn the microphone over to you, Jimmy, I just want to brag a little bit. We launched a course not too long ago to our community based on your unique strategies. 900 people jumped in. And that was pretty exciting to see just how this resonated because it's such a unique, creative strategy. It's different. It is retail arbitrage sourcing, but it's with a twist that is so exciting. It doesn't involve scanning, but it's still RA. It's still retail arbitrage. So I'm going to let you take it away and fill us in. What is this strategy you're teaching? And one last thing. Sorry, Jimmy, I know you're chomping at the bit, buddy, but if you want to check this strategy out, the course that we did with Jimmy is actually full right now. But if you go to provenamazoncourse.com/replens, REPLENS. That will be in the show notes, by the way, at silentjim.com/podcast. That's where the show notes are. But I'll repeat it one more time. provenamazoncourse.com/replens, REPLENS. You can get on the waiting list for the next time we do this course. But right now, the people who are going through it are just giving us raving feedback, already some success stories just a couple weeks in. So I'll turn it over to you, Jimmy. Tell us, what are these replens? Tell us your story. Share some numbers with us. The floor is yours, my friend.
Sure. Thanks so much for having me on here, Jim. I really appreciate it. Yeah, this group has been amazing. It was way more than I ever expected. The positivity that has gone on in the Facebook group over the last 3 weeks since we started has been amazing. We've seen a lot of success stories in finding replens, and really what that means and what our whole business model is based around is going to local stores, retail stores like Walmart, Target, regional stores, etc., and searching for products that we can sell for more on Amazon. And we do that by typing in keywords to the Amazon seller app. And we don't ever scan UPC codes. And we're usually able to find listings that a lot of sellers don't find because they're scanning UPC codes that pull up different products. So that's what our business model is based around. We've been doing this since December 2015. Jumped in right off the bat with actually coaching from Gary Baird in your group, Jim. And so that's how we started. We put in both feet and went in head first into the whole thing right away. But it's been an amazing journey since then. And right now we do about 100,000 a month. 95% of that is retail arbitrage and replenishable products. So yeah, that's been our business.
All right. Well, since you opened the door, I'm going to make a little unofficial, this episode sponsored by JimCockrumCoaching.com. You mentioned Gary. He's one of our great coaches on our team. We've got a few dozen amazing coaches, and I'd forgotten that part of your story. So thanks for reminding us of that.
Yeah.
But we have the best coaching team in the world, and it's successful students who, like you, Jimmy, who've said, you know what, we're succeeding wildly, but I wouldn't mind taking one or two students along with me on a one-on-one basis. And so we pay our coaches well, and we've got the best coaching program in the world as a result. Might have to recruit you in, Jimmy. I don't know if we can afford you or not, though, because you're really killing it right now.
Right. No, I mean, I'm sure that'd be, I like helping people out. So that'd be awesome.
Well, you've got a class of 900 chomping at the bit right now. So I don't know where you'd squeeze anything in, but keep it rocking. This story's awesome so far.
Awesome. Yeah. So, yeah, we started December 2015. Gary really helped us get everything going and started. And we were able to grow that to about 10,000 a month. And at the time, my wife and I were both working. I sold commercial insurance, and that job moved me around quite a bit. So Brittany was a server at the time. Before that, she was in logistics, but we moved too much for her to be able to, keep a stable corporate job. So she was serving at the time, and it was something that I didn't really like, selling commercial insurance, and I wanted to get involved in something I could do from home. And honestly, just be able to come back and work with Brittany on something that we could grow. So yeah, that's when we decided to try it out, and went full force. And then about a year and a half after we started, we decided we really wanted to focus more on, for sure, getting me home, because we saw the opportunity. And so we actually joined the Legends group, the Amazon Legends group, which is connected to you as well, Jim. And so that's really what started our focus on replenishable products. And from there, we went from about, I think last year at this time, in July is whenever we hired some employees. We went from 20,000 a month up to 100,000 a month in this past year. So right now, I actually looked, and we did 1.1 million over the last 12 months from today. So it's pretty crazy to think about it.
That's awesome.
We're supporting 7 other part-time employees. 1 is full-time. And so it's been pretty amazing to see the growth and have some amazing employees as well.
I'm gonna call another timeout on you, man, because you just introduced our second sponsor of the day without me realizing we were going to go there. But yeah, right. Man, the Legends group is incredible. And that is a group ran by Danny and Ryan. They specialize on all the most creative, latest strategies for retail arbitrage. And we've got several hundred. I'm not sure what the latest count is. I think we're probably up to around 1,000 or so in there. But it's very exclusive. It's a pay monthly group. And if you want information on that, you can go to provenamazoncourse.com/legends. Another link that'll be in our show today. Another generous sponsor that's actually our own little side business, right?
Right, exactly.
Man, I love it. So you went from, if you went back in time, I'm just going to ask, because you're throwing some great numbers. This story's going great, but I want to jump back in time. Like, what introduced you initially to the concept of selling on Amazon? Like, where did that concept even come from? I'm curious now. I don't know that part of the story.
Yeah. So it was about 4 years ago. It was, I was on kind of like I came back home for Christmas break, essentially, from my job, because they had moved us away from St. Louis, where we currently live. And so I came back home, and I just hated being away from my family and hated not being able to work from home more. That's something that I've always been interested in and loved doing. And so I just started searching for, businesses I could start working from home. And I came across, a bunch of other Amazon courses, and then finally found your group as, the one that had the most reviews and all of the most positive testimonials. And
so it was basically Google research.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And I actually came by it from, I think, Skip McGrath's, his webpage. That's where I found you.
Another great dude in the industry, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm glad I passed up on all those other courses as well. I mean, everything in here has been just amazing. So you can tell too, just for me dropping everything throughout this talk, that we are not scared to invest in ourselves, and it's paid off huge over the past 3 years for us.
Yeah, I just did an episode, Jimmy. You'll be interested to check out. It hasn't published yet, with Dan Miller. Do you happen to know who that is?
Yeah, I do.
Sure. And it was on the topic of how much should I be investing in my own continuing education if I'm going to be an internet business building warrior? How do the numbers break down? Like, what kind of expense is it?
Yeah.
And as your income goes up, and I'm not going to steal Dan's thunder, it's a tremendous presentation. I don't know if it'll air slightly before this episode or slightly after this episode airs, but it'll be somewhere around here. Look for that episode with Dan Miller. I think you and the other listeners will definitely enjoy it, because he's been doing this a lot longer than either of us. And he's got a real formula carved out for exactly how much you should be investing in your own self-education as you continue to grow. It's cool stuff. But anyway, all right, I've taken enough of the microphone time.
Good.
Back to the story. 1.1 million, you said, the last year, total sales. You're employing 7 people.
Yep.
Beautiful, man. Keep it going. And we're going to dive, for the listeners' sake, man, we're going to dive into some very specific techniques and strategies too. We've only given a little drop of that. More of that's coming. So let's keep it going.
Yeah. So right now, obviously, we've done those numbers and we hope to continue to grow it. And really, what's allowed us to do that, besides scaling this and getting employees, has been replenishable products. And for us, that just means finding products that we can continually sell over and over. And so that's been really the base of our business and the base of what we're trying to do moving forward. When we started out, we did a lot of the clearance shopping and went around, and that was great. But it was not something that we were able to scale ourselves, and we just kind of got burnt out. So whenever we started focusing on products that we could, go buy full price from, a store just next to us, that was something that allowed us to grow and scale, and be able to count on that income to always be coming in. And so it's just been an amazing journey, being able to do that.
And a great thing about the kind of people you're able to hire, correct me if I'm wrong, but, and I remember talking to you before about this, and I'm pretty sure it was you, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you send someone out to shop for, say, go find clearance items that will sell well on Amazon, right? That requires a lot of thinking, a lot of scanning, a lot of luck. Some days you're going to strike out, some days you're going to do well.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people systemize that, but it's a frustrating journey.
Right.
That's a pretty small model. It's a great place to start. Don't get me wrong. Hard to scale. But the kind of people you're hiring, you're sending them out with a shopping list.
Yep.
We need as many of this item as you can get. I don't really care what the price is because we're selling it for 5 or 6 times retail.
Yep.
At Amazon. So just go buy it anywhere, Walmart, Target, whatever stores we need it. Because we're going to create these unique bundles, or we're going to create this unique multi-pack. Just go get it.
Yeah.
Right. Is that a fair assessment of what we're talking about here? Between the two types of people that you can hire when you start scaling is what I'm talking about.
No, that's absolutely correct. I mean, we actually at one point tried to outsource some of the clearance stuff, and we taught how to shop for it, and it just was like you said, it becomes frustrating. Sometimes you do really well, sometimes you don't, and it's harder for the employee as well to count on income, or even for us to count on that. So the great thing,
whether pay them hourly or you pay them a percent of profit, or with your shoppers, it's hourly. Now you can bonus them as the business grows, but it's hourly. It's an hourly job. Here's your shopping list to go buy this stuff.
Exactly. And it's easy for us to track too. Okay, they bought this much per hour. That seems about right based off what we were able to do. So that's been huge for us. That's why it was easier for us to scale it. Because we do have one employee that's full-time that knows how to find replens, and she kind of helps us build that list now and manages the shoppers a little bit, just because we like to be hands-off with it now, to grow other things. But this is obviously something that we're super focused on. And we've got 2 shoppers that just shop strictly, and then we've got the one full-time that will shop, and she finds some new replens, and then she also manages our list and gives it to the shoppers. So she's amazing. And then even from the prepping and shipping side, in my opinion, it's 1,000 times easier for our prep and ship employees to be able to get these products in the door, and they're used to prepping them. There's no 10 clearance stickers that you've got to use, lighter fluid or a heat gun for. There's none of that. And please don't use both at the same time if you do use clearance stickers.
So just a little tip for the users out there. Yeah,
exactly.
For the shoppers. Heat and fuel don't mix well. Okay, got it.
Yeah, exactly. But it makes it a ton easier for them. They know exactly how we need things prepped. It's just has been huge for us to be able to scale it. I mean, so last year, this time, we had just hired our prepping shipping employees. We didn't have any shoppers. And we went from 25,000 in June. We hired employees in July and did 39,000. And then in August, we did 73. So we scaled very quickly because we had replenishable products, and it was easy for us to train them on how to prep and ship these things. So that's another huge piece that I love about replens.
It's something that excites me too about what you're doing in this model we're teaching, and how we've drilled down and basically turned the shopping activity into a job that you can hire and train someone in about an hour.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, as opposed to teaching them this whole new set of skills, since we can train someone to do it arguably an hour or maybe even less time, projects, the companies that start popping in my head are companies like TaskRabbit. And we had this conversation briefly before, didn't we, Jimmy? Was it with you, or was it with another replen?
I think that was with me.
TaskRabbit, like Tackle, the new
Tackle,
like the little task management apps
Yeah.
where you can say, hey, I need someone to come over to my house and build this doghouse that I bought, or I need someone to go to the go to the drugstore and pick up these 4 items for me.
Right.
You can have, with little effort, you could have a national shopping mob
That's
at your
true.
disposal from your phone,
Yeah.
right? I mean, like, so your wheels start
Yeah.
turning. This could get
Absolutely.
huge fast with the right
Yeah.
approach to this, right? So is your brain starting to turn in that direction at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's something that would be huge for us if we could. The thing is, then we'd have to also try to find um, regional products for, around the country that would actually typically do really well with replenishable products. Are those regional products that maybe, in St. Louis, we only have this one type of, sauce or whatever, whereas some other place, would have a different thing that goes with their region. So that would be huge if you could say, hey, we need you to go buy this or go whatever with those apps. That would be amazing.
Yeah, I think that's where we're heading, especially
Yeah.
especially as you have success with stuff that appeals for a wider region or products that are available in a wider region.
Yeah.
Like around here, the region. Do you have Kroger where you are? Have you
We
heard of
don't.
that store?
I have heard of it though.
You've heard of it. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's like, I know it's a Midwest thing. I know, like in the
Mhm.
South, in the States, they have Winn-Dixie is a
Yeah.
regional grocery chain. Like, they'll have their own brands,
Mhm.
and people will be loyal to those brands no matter where they go in the country. And or
Exactly.
you may say, I don't have time to drive around to every Midwest Kroger,
Yeah.
but I could hire someone in other states to go in and
Mhm.
grab these brands, right?
Yeah.
So the
Exactly.
opportunity gets big fast. But I think
Yeah.
we're talking at a high level here where a lot of our audience is going to get this, but let's drill back down to a real simple level. Let's talk to the people now who are going, okay, wait, you've talked about replens. You said I don't have to scan any barcodes. You said
Mhm.
I type it in. Talk us through replens from an even more basic, let's go fifth grade level here for a couple minutes.
Okay.
What's the difference between shopping for replens and scanning barcodes in the clearance aisle? Talk me through that.
Yeah, absolutely. So typically on Amazon, there are multiple listings for just one product, and that can be because somebody, just listed it themselves, or they made a bundle or a variety pack of a certain product. And those things usually have either a different UPC, or they have some sort of an exemption to where they didn't need to provide a UPC. So if you're in an aisle and you're scanning UPCs, you might get one or two listings that come up. And a lot of times those listings aren't profitable. The reason for that is just because a lot of people, everyone can find those listings either in the shelf, or even wholesale. People will buy it and do it wholesale with those UPCs strictly. And so our model is based around, instead of scanning anything, any UPC barcode, is in the Amazon seller app, we will then type in a search for a specific brand and type of product. So I used, like AIM toothpaste is what I would type in. And then we can see all of the listings that pull up from that one search, which allows us to then pick out products that are potentially more replenishable, things that you can't find by scanning a barcode. Many times it can be a 3-pack or a 2-pack or something like that, or it can be, in the instance of AIM toothpaste, it could be like a cinnamon flavor bundled with an original flavor. And so that allows us to find these listings that are typically hidden from seller view, but from a buyer perspective, whenever they go to shop on Amazon, they're typing in that same exact search phrase. They're typing in AIM toothpaste. They're typing in, whatever it might be, a Craftsman hammer. It could be anything. It doesn't necessarily either have to be something that you use over and over. It's just something you can sell over and over. So like, I won't buy a hammer multiple times a year, but I can sell a hammer 10 times a month, right? So that's where it comes from. Got a gift?
I'm telling you, man, this is so unprofessional for those of you watching the YouTube video. My kid coming into my office at will. That's
That's
probably
awesome.
something for Andrea, a friend of hers, dropped off. So this is real time.
Yeah.
I've got no crew. So hard to find good help. For those of you listening on the audio, yeah, you'll have to watch the video to just know what we're talking about. One of my kids just walked in, dropped a pink gift bag on the desk behind me, and walked out.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, I love your example. You're talking about. I love what you just said about replens. I don't want to blow past this because a lot of times when people think replens, they're thinking, well, okay, that's something that someone uses on a repeat. So you're talking about the same customer buying the same shampoo every month, right? No,
Right.
that's not what we mean by replen. I don't know that replen is the best word. That's just kind of the word that floated. So we use it now.
Mm-hmm.
It's items that predictably sell very well, maybe to new customers on a continual
Right.
basis. But the thing is, you're going to run out of it at the same rate every month
Mm-hmm.
on a pretty predictable basis. It reminds me a lot
Yes.
of when I had a gumball route, Jimmy. That's one of the first businesses I had where I'd go in, I'd set up a gumball machine and these different, I had, like the pizza shop and maybe a barber shop and a, beauty salon. And I'd set up these gumball machines.
Okay.
And I'd go in, I'd collect $30 the first month. And I'd be like, oh, well, this is great. I made $30, take out the cost of the candy. I made some cash. This is great. So I'd drive around with this is when my oldest son was really tiny. He'd be in his stroller and we'd roll in, I'd empty it out. And it was fun for us to do together. But what I noticed very quickly was the exact same amount of money was there the next month. If I went back exactly 30 days later and exactly 30 days later, I mean, within 50 or 75 cents.
Wow.
It was crazy how predictable these things were selling. So when we're talking about replens, we're talking about stuff that sells at a pretty predictable clip. So
Yes.
if it sold 40 last month, you're probably going to need 40 again next month or pretty close to it. You can start to map out what you're going to need when you're going to run out. There's not these wild swings up and down. Now, some of it's seasonal, and you can get into seasonal replenishables like, okay, every Halloween, you're going to need 8 units of this or 1,000 units of that. But I'm talking about replenishables that we get excited about around here are, man, this rice bean combo here that we came up with, this regional, it's selling 40 a month. Next month it's going to sell 40. Next month it might sell 38. Right. Next month 40. That's the replenishable we're talking about, right? Did I hit it well? Did I leave anything out there? How else do you kind of shape and define a replenishable?
Yeah, I think of it as, it's replenishable for me, not necessarily for somebody like the customer. So it's just something that we can replenish our inventory consistently month over month or week over week, whatever it might be. So that was perfect the way that you described it.
When you get low, you go get more. It may not be that super predictable, but it's going to sell at a reasonable clip. So it's just nice inventory that moves well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's another perk too, not being in the clearance aisles. You know that it will most likely continually be at that store until they, decide to clearance it out, or it might be there forever. So we've had replens that we've had for over a year before, and we still have them, and they're amazing. We've got some that, last 2 or 3 months because, stores change over their inventory or whatever, but that's how it works. It's still way more reliable and predictable than just going down to clearance aisles and trying to find products to keep buying. So that's been huge for it. And another thing for us too, I know that there are bundlers, people that like to bundle their own products, make their own listings. We don't do that at all. So I've gotten a lot of questions in the group whether or not we make our own listings and our own replenishable product listings. We don't. There's plenty of listings out there already for us to go find and products for us to sell on. So I think that that's ultimately been huge for us. It's a time saver too. So you can do bundles. We just don't.
That is huge. You've built a $1 million+ business with a team that you pay with shopping lists, and they do the packing for you. And it's you're able to do things like this. You're running a successful community teaching 900+ of our students right now. As we're recording this, you just did one of your sessions last night. And by the way, as a reminder, for those who are getting more interested in what Jimmy's saying right now, and man, I kind of want to get in on this. I want to learn more about this stuff. Remember, the website you need is provenamazoncourse.com/replens, REPLENS. And there's a waiting list right now. We're recording all these sessions. We'll put those up for sale at some point. The price is going to be ridiculously too low, as with everything we sell around here. But this is a strategy you need to get in on. So get on that waiting list if you're checking this out. But the point I'm making is this is proof that without bundles, without getting all creative, just by going off listings that already exist on Amazon, just by going out and finding products that match listings that are already out there, you can build $1 million business.
Yeah.
And I just want to state, this is the third time we've done this, but I want to state, to clarify for people, we're not talking about scanning barcodes in retail stores. We're talking about opening up the seller app, typing in the name of a product, and maybe you might give us an example of a exact search phrase you might use. Might be a good way to go here, Jimmy. But when you type that name in, it brings up a whole bunch of listings. And if you scroll through, you might stand in the same aisle for half an hour
Oh yeah.
with your phone, right? Or longer,
Yeah.
because you're saying, okay, that's an interesting product. I'm going to type the name of that in and just see what's on Amazon. And you scroll and like, ooh, someone's got a listing, and all it is this and a different size can that I don't see on the shelf. They've got the 24-ounce here, but someone's making a killing on the 36-ounce can. I'm going
Yeah.
to track the 36-ounce can down, right? I mean, it's that kind of
Yeah.
process, right?
Absolutely. So that's how we start, right? Is broad. So we start with the brand name and the type of product, usually, like, Colgate toothpaste, whatever, just whatever's in front of you. And we go product by product and brand by brand throughout an aisle. So actually, the minimum amount of time we usually spend in an aisle is about 30 minutes. And I have spent 4 hours in one aisle. But that was because I found 30 to 40 replens, like new listings for us to sell on. So that was, that's rare, but it does happen.
What kind of interaction do you have with the store employees and management when you stay in the same aisle for 4 hours? Like, ever had anything interesting happen before? Like, you kind of get lost in your own world there.
Oh yeah. Obviously we usually get questions if you're standing there that long, and, usually it's just, hey, do you need any help? And I say, no, I'm good. Thank you. But there have been times when I have had a manager say, hey, what are you doing? Like, it looks kind of weird to our security cameras kind of thing. And so I tell them, like, hey, I buy these things to sell them online. I'm just looking for different products to buy. And they usually are okay with it. Obviously if you're at I think Target is one of the ones that don't like it, that don't like resellers as much, at least they aren't as friendly. So, we don't do as much retail arbitrage standing in an aisle that long. But what we do with those stores is we'll just take pictures of the aisles and look for it at home. And then we'll just make a shopping list and go out.
Walk down the aisle real slow.
Yeah.
Filming, and then get home, paused, because you can get like 4K quality video with a decent smartphone now, right? And we've got a guy, this interview's coming, Jimmy. It'll be within 2 or 3 episodes of this one, either before or after this one airs.
Okay.
That does 1 million plus. Well, he's about to hit 1 million. Okay. He is 80% target.
Wow.
Replen sourcing.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's one store.
That's what's out there. So so here's a little thing for those of you in the community who are in other Facebook groups that talk about Amazon and say things like retail arbitrage is dead. Like, oh my goodness, listen to this episode. Listen to the episode with JR. That's the guy I already interviewed him a few days ago. Mind blowing. Yeah. There's times where I'm sitting here doing these interviews, Jimmy, and I'm like, I just want to get back out there and replen source again, man.
Yeah.
I'm kind of running a company now, and I'm managing teams, and but there's days where I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to go replen source because there's so much opportunity out there that's just completely untapped. You sat in one aisle for 4 hours and found 30 to 40 profitable listings that sell on a repeat basis.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty crazy. And what's also crazy, I mean, JR Cagle, right? That's his name. Is that how you say his last name? I know of him. Yeah. He is, like you said, 80% target, and we barely shop at Target. So, we both of us though have 7-figure businesses doing retail arbitrage. So the opportunity is endless because there's so many stores that you can go to and have a huge business doing it. I wish that we shopped more at Target. I'm going to have to look at that now. But
you'll have to listen to his episode. He really gives away some great tips. You know what? I think that episode may have already aired. Now that I'm thinking about it, in my mind, this podcast is a different experiment because at any given time, we've got 7 or 8 episodes recorded but not published yet. So I have a hard time keeping track of which ones are out there and which ones aren't sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
I'll have to look. I get to enjoy them sometimes, a month and a half before our valued listeners get to hear them. So, but yeah, I think that one with JR may already be out there. I can't remember, but anyway, yeah. And the point is too, with you, Jimmy, and with JR, a thing I want to make very clear to the listeners is it's not like it's just the two of you that have gone out and cleaned up now. Mm-hmm. We could create an army of replen sellers and just begin to, you got to keep in mind, Amazon is introducing probably, I'm going to just pull a number out of the air. The statistics maybe someone will correct me, but I would say about 100,000 new listings a day. I'm just going to pull a number out of the air. And of those, thousands, maybe tens of thousands, let's say 10,000 or more, are going to be very, very successful new listings, like wildly successful. And that's an opportunity for those of us who are sellers to go, oh, wow, look, there's a new interesting hot seller that doesn't have enough people sourcing it. I could be sourcing that.
Right.
So the opportunities it's coming in waves. It's like you're sitting on a beach and there's a new wave of replenishable opportunities every few days. It's not like it's gone out and it's tapped out now. New
Right.
products, new brands. All these major brands, they're coming out with new sizes, new flavors, new snack packs, whatever. And people in region X can't get them and they want them. And you're in region Y over here and you've got them abundantly. All you got to do is go to the store, grab them, and send them to Amazon. Those opportunities are literally abundant. They're everywhere.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest opportunities too, I mean, even for international sellers like in Canada or Mexico or wherever, is taking products that are in those regions and bringing them to the US, because a lot of times those things sell really well. I've seen some as we've traveled where I've just looked in an airport and I'm like, oh, wow, this would be awesome. If I lived here, we could, sell a lot of very profitable listings. I think Barrington did that, right, with coffee and stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That was one of the first podcast episodes, but he was a coaching student of ours, went through today's episode sponsored by Jim Cockrum Coaching. Went through a coaching program. That's one of the things we told him was go to the grocery store, find some things that aren't, our advice to him was look them up on Amazon. If they aren't on Amazon yet, buy a handful, send them in Amazon US. See what happens. Send in a handful of bags of coffee. They sold instantly. So he cleared the shelf, sent that to the US, sold instantly. So we went to the store manager and said, hey, can I buy cases? And like, yeah, but I mean, the guy that makes it's right here on the island. Why don't you just go to him and buy cases? Like, all right. But then started buying case after case. Pretty soon the coffee company called him. The plantation that was making the coffee called him and said, you're our best sales rep in the world right now. We don't even know who you are or how you're moving this much coffee. Can we talk? And he called me up all nervous. And the rest is history.
That's awesome.
Coffee king of Jamaica now. Build a house for cash. Has his family there. Great story.
That's awesome.
Actually, the audio of one of our first phone conversations, Barrington and I, is on provenamazoncourse.com right at the top of the page. It's been there for years. It's just such a great story about how simple this business can be. Just putting stuff that's not on Amazon yet onto Amazon can be a huge business model if you live outside the US. And Jimmy, this is real recent update I'm going to share with you. I was on the phone, this is less than a week ago, with the guy who's in charge of recruiting. He works for Amazon. He's in charge of recruiting new sellers like us to the platform for Singapore, Australia, Vietnam, handful of other, that's his territory. And he says the first thing we tell people when they sign up for an Amazon account in one of these territories is sign up in this territory and then start selling in the US because that's where all the action is. That's what they tell them. You've got to get yourself established in the US. So Amazon, the advice that you just gave, find stuff that you think might sell well. I know we've got Hector Sosa in Mexico right now, who's doing very well with that. Sourcing products from Mexico, sending them to the US, doing very, very well with that model. So this is an international opportunity and you can do this from anywhere in the world, what we're talking about.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's the opportunities are endless out there, I think that there's so many products, people can go out there and find them. I do typically suggest focus on regional stores because you'll find, less competition there. But absolutely don't forget about the Targets and Walmarts and Walgreens and all of those stores out there too, because you can find a lot of really good listings from there as well.
Give us a Eureka moment from your replen stories, like back in your memory banks in a moment when you were standing in this store and like almost embarrassed yourself, like I just found $10,000 on this shelf. Like talk us through it with as much specific as you can. Like how's that work?
Yeah, so there's technically two. One is whenever we first heard of typing in products to the Amazon search bar to find them. That was the first thing, like, wow, I can't believe that we've been not even doing this for the last 6 months or however long it'd been at the time. So that was something we went out, we tested it, we tried it out. It took us a while because we were getting used to it, but we started to find products and the light bulb went off for us that we can do this. We don't have to chase clearance. We just buy at full price and it's an amazing business model for us. So that was one. The second one though was I quit my job last February and we were doing about $25,000 a month And I thought that our business, just because I quit, would double, triple right away. And about 3 months later, we were still at the same level. And so my Eureka moment was, I don't like prepping and shipping, and I need to start outsourcing this stuff. And that's what was the catalyst for our growth, is really starting to trust other people to handle the products and really grow the business from there. So those are the two moments, finding about REPLENS and testing it out. And then the second one was, why isn't our business growing? I quit my job 3 months ago, and we should grow, but we just didn't like prepping and shipping, and that was our bottleneck. So
yeah, well, yeah. So you started pursuing that path of the phrase I like is only do the stuff that only you can do.
Mm-hmm.
When people hear that for the first time and then try to say it themselves, they inevitably play with it and get it wrong. The wording is very important here.
Yeah.
Only do the stuff that only you can do. That's what you started doing. That's why you've been able to step into this leadership role. You know, another way to say that is, you know, once you can afford it, stop touching box tape. Once your business can support you doing those higher level activities, get your hands off the tape dispenser. That is $10 an hour work.
Right.
Hire a neighborhood kid to do that. Scale up, because every business out there is either growing or shrinking. There's no steady state.
Right.
So that frustration you were feeling in that steady state was like, I'm not in the right role here. So yeah, that's awesome. And I love those Eureka moments, but I'm going to hit that question again with some more specifics, because I want to hear about a time where you like picked up a product in your hand. What was the product?
Yeah.
What went through your head? And what did you see on your screen? Like, talk me through a real specific, if you can, without giving away one of your hottest products, of course, but just think through for a moment if you have like a story and something that just took off well for you. Like, what's one of those outlier Eureka moments of your specific products?
Yeah. So I'd have to think about it, because there's so many products that we've gone through over the past, year and a half, 3 years since we started. Goodness, I can't think of necessarily a specific product. I know that there are specific instances, such as, store brands at Walmart and Target being something that people search for on Amazon. I don't necessarily have that Eureka moment for anything specifically for one product. There was one product that we sold 200 units of in a month, and we decided that, okay, we can make this ourselves and private label this product. And it became, a really good, it was a bestseller on Amazon for a while. So that was one instance with our private label stuff that we took from our retail arbitrage business. But
now that is cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just
so let's explore that a little bit. There were keywords involved in people looking for that product. When they go to Amazon and type it in, the keywords were generic enough, I take it, that you were able to use those same keywords and put them on your own label.
Yeah.
Right. We call that our PPI strategy. I don't know if you've ever even dug into that content or not. It's part of the Proven Amazon course, but basically, if you're selling an inch deep and a mile wide, meaning if you're selling a little bit of a bunch of different products, you can look at your data from time to time and say, wow, there's a lot of people buying this product, and it's kind of has a generic name. It's not Heinz or Mattel or Sony or Nike. It's not a recognized brand that's driving the foot traffic. It's a kind of a generic named product that's driving the eyeballs and traffic. I could go get my own, and there's a lot of people looking. So you did that, and how's that private label product going for you?
It's been really good. One thing that we did is we actually started out more of the hard way. So that was, probably our mistake. I think that was before PPL 2.0 necessarily came out with private label the easy way. But it actually worked out well for us. So, and the reason it worked out well is because of actually the PPI methods and everything. We actually did use that to create our listings and look at everything before we purchased the product. But yeah, no, it was something that was a store brand. So it was very generic. But the product is still something that we sell today, and it still does very well. We sell, 6 or 7 units a day. We don't do any advertising for it. It's all completely organic. So I'm sure if we really focused on pushing it more, we could get it up to 20 units a day. But that's just hasn't been our business model yet. So it's been exciting, and we've done a couple of reorders and have a manufacturer that's able to make it for us. And yeah, it's been great.
And for those who are scratching their head going, wait a second, PPI, PPL, PAC, The Proven Amazon course. That's all you got to remember. ProvenAmazonCourse.com. That is the only Amazon course that we sell. It's a comprehensive family of collection of courses, I should say, that includes PPI, which is Proven Performance Inventory. It teaches you how to use Amazon's data to reveal huge untapped market opportunities. That's PPI. And then we talked about PPL, Proven Private Label, which is a module inside the Proven Amazon course as well. So you got to think of the Proven Amazon course as a collection of modules. You don't have to absorb them all, but over time, like Jimmy has done here, he's absorbed content from these different strategies that have benefited his business as he's grown and scaled. But I just wanted to clarify for the listeners, because acronyms, we kind of have our own language around here. You get a bunch of us Amazon selling nerds, been doing it a while, and we can speak in acronyms. So I'm always cautious about, hey, new listeners, we love you. None of this is intimidating. The Proven Amazon course has all this stuff in it. We just find ourselves using a lot of acronyms around it. I mean, FBA itself is an acronym, Fulfillment by Amazon.
Yeah.
Who has time to say that 50 times a day? FBA, right?
Exactly.
But man, I love hearing your story. Okay, what are we leaving out here today? Are you chomping at the bit to like, oh man, I want people to understand this, or here's a vital lesson that we need to drive home before we start to wrap this one up?
Yeah, I think the biggest and most important piece for people that want to at least try this out is to have the right mindset going into it. That, and even in the group, I've seen this a lot. People talking about how they spent, 4 or 5 hours and found one thing, and then at some point, for whatever reason, it clicked and they were able to find 10 replens in the next hour. So just if you're going out there to test this, don't give up. Keep pushing, because the business model does work. There's plenty of success stories beyond myself and even beyond JR that use these techniques to find products. So, use that as your ultimate, I guess, goal for yourself, that you can go out there, you can be successful with this model, and you can learn too if you like it. If not, you can use this. We use it now to hopefully pursue some more wholesale relationships, and use it as we've talked about for private label stuff. So it's just starting to all come together more and more. So have that as your goal. Go out there and learn, and you'll find stuff. That's for sure. You'll be successful with it.
The opportunity is abundant.
Yes.
And I'm so encouraged too by statistics, Jimmy, that tell us that right now only 10% of retail is online. And listeners to this show have got to get sick of me saying this, but I think one of the jobs I have as the host of a podcast talking about online opportunity and Amazon opportunity is to make sure that people are correctly shaping the opportunity in their mind. Only 10% of retail is online, guys. That means there's going to be hundreds of billions of new dollars pouring into online shopping in the next 10, 20 years. This is just starting.
Right.
This is in its infancy. So if you are listening to anyone out there who's even hinting that, oh, this strategy's dead, or, oh, Amazon's saturated, are you kidding me? We're not even started yet.
No,
the game's not even begun. And we talked to people like Jimmy today with his wife, Brittany, and they built $1 million business and a beautiful, flexible lifestyle and career, employing 7 people with meaningful work that they enjoy, building a team that will be much bigger sooner. Be a part of that type of thinking, that type of mindset. Surround yourself with those kind of people instead of surrounding yourself with people who go, oh, that'll never work for you. Oh, that's saturated. Oh, that doesn't work anymore. No, this stuff works. And that's one of the jobs I see of this podcast, is to just destroy those excuses and those negative mindsets by bringing you examples of people who are doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I just happen to have this sitting next to my desk, but it's fun to be in a community full of people like this. Have you checked out that book, Jim? You know who that is?
I do know who that is. I haven't read the book yet, but I was at CES last year, and
Carolyn.
Yeah. Carolyn talked.
I mean, from homeless to homeowner, thanks to the kind of stuff we're talking about.
It's an amazing story.
Just awesome. Hang out with a community of people like that.
Yeah.
So I just want to encourage the listeners. And for those of you who weren't watching on YouTube, I just held up a copy of the book, From Homeless to Homeowner by Carolyn McFall. You can find it on Amazon. Not a sponsor of the show. We're not going to get a dime for that endorsement, but she does talk about this community a lot in the book. And how big of an influence that was today. But man, we mentioned a lot of cool links today, a lot of cool resources for the listeners. But even if all you do, listener, is enjoy the free content and just go out and try the stuff we're telling you to do, you can build an incredible business. And notice, one of the things I want to point out too, Jimmy, is we didn't say, oh, here's this software tool, this keyword tool you got to buy, this monthly subscription tool you got to go buy. No, you don't have to do any of that. You need the free Amazon seller app and an Amazon account, both of which you can get for free about 10 minutes from now if you're motivated to do so. And you can go try this stuff that Jimmy was just talking about. Give it a shot. Now, if you want some expert education and some assistance, we've got some great people. And the thing that every leader on our team has in common, Jimmy, I've discovered this, they all like to eat and feed their kids. So we do charge some money for some of the tools, resources, and training that we provide. But man, if you just want to absorb our free content and this free training, go out and try this stuff. It's phenomenal. Now's the best time in human history to be an entrepreneur. I stand by that statement. And it's great people like you that are proving it every day. So Jimmy, great job today, man. Any wrapping up final comments for the community as we close this one up?
Only final comments is, if you are, serious, you're going to go out there and look, and use your Amazon seller app, things that help make yourself more assured at what you're buying is we do utilize Keepa. So, and I know you talked about this a ton in your podcast as the episodes I've listened to. Keepa being paid is amazing to me now. I'm excited for that because they'll keep it going if they're making money. So it is about $17 a month, but that is the number one most important tool for us to make sure that we're buying the right products. If you don't use it, you don't need to. You can, just use rank charts and take a look at the Amazon seller rank in your seller app. But it makes it a little bit more easier and comforting if you can read a Keepa graph and know that it's going to sell. So there's a little bit more detail to that. That probably, there's stuff on YouTube and whatnot that shows you how to read one. And you can get that all in there. And so I think that's, obviously in package.
Great point. Yeah, we do like Keepa. Man, I got to get them as a sponsor of this podcast. Yeah. But no, that is a great app. And I'm glad you said that because the people who are doing this at a serious level, almost across the board, love Keepa. It used to be free, and then they started charging, and everyone freaked out. But I love the way you said that, Jimmy. That means they're going to be able to keep providing it. You know, I mean, that's my definition of profit: is those funds that allow me to continue serving with excellence without needing anyone to make donations. Like Keepa was either going to have to charge money for their service, or they're going to have to seek out a grant or some donations or something because they're putting a lot of work and energy into that fantastic app.
Yes.
It was free for years, but those of us who understand the business are more than happy to pay $17 a month service. And that's the price currently. It could go up at some point, but thanks for mentioning that because that is one tool that many serious replen and retail arbitrage shoppers use quite frequently.
Yeah. And if there's one software I had to pay for, that would be Keepa. So, we obviously have other softwares and stuff that we use just because, we like to speed things up, but if I had to keep one. Yeah, that'd be the one that I'd keep if I had to decide. So
and you cover that. I mean, this is part of the REPLENS training. We talk about how we use that tool and different ways to take advantage of what that tool can do for you. But we're not going to go off onto that rabbit trail right now. And you were a great guest today, Jimmy. Thank you very much. And I'm going to wrap it up by talking to the listeners who have hung out with us today. What another incredible opportunity to hang out. I've been a part of membership groups. I've paid to be educated by people who knew far less than Jimmy did. And I had to pay a lot of money for it. And I'm just so proud that we have a podcast where it doesn't cost you a dime to come hang out and learn from people who are building incredible businesses. And they just throw back the curtains and tell you as best they can in 45 minutes or so exactly how to do what you need to do. I'm proud of this show. And I'm grateful that you've spent time with us today, listeners. That is the only reason we do this show. It wouldn't be any fun if it was just Jimmy and I hanging out. But you guys giving us your feedback and telling us you loved it and telling us what you think and telling us what else you want to learn more about, man, that makes it very rewarding for us. So send us your suggestions, send us your success stories. And the biggest favor you can do if you received some value from us today is spread the word. Tell a friend. Send them this episode. Tell them to come check out silentgym.com. That's the only link you need today. If you liked some of the links or resources we talked about today, literally every tool, resource, or acronym that we talked about, today's episode, silentgym.com/podcast. There'll be a link to all of it. And if you're just listening, hey, there's a YouTube link today too, so you can see a couple of the visuals that we ended up referencing today. Certainly not a necessity, but you might enjoy watching it that way as well. So, hey, God bless you, business building warriors, those of you who are such loyal fans of this show. We appreciate you. We love you. We're praying for you. We're in your corner. To our guest, Jimmy, today, and his wife, Brittany, who loaned him to us. Thank you very much. And
Thanks
we'll
for
do
having me
this
on.
real soon.
Yeah.
Bye, all.